Welcome to the Primo's Musings podcast.
Good morning. Welcome to the Week 6 recap of the NFL season. And it was a very, very interesting season so far. But a couple of teams are still on bye. The Chiefs are on a bye. The Vikings are on a bye. The two undefeated teams are on a bye. As I mentioned, the 49ers started off last Thursday night with a victory over the Seahawks, dropping the Seahawks to 3-3. And the biggest matchup we were going to look forward to was the Ravens and Commanders. And this was a big battle between uh, Jaden Daniels of the Commanders and Lamar Jackson of the Ravens, but also the defenses across both the teams. And it turned out to be the Ravens were able to surmount a big victory over the Commanders. The Ravens have won now 4 in a row after dropping the first two games. They definitely seem primed to be a contender um, to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC. The other team that showed a lot of hope, at least in my mind, is the Lions, despite losing their defensive star Hutchinson for the season. Hopefully he can come back. But the Lions put on a huge whooping on the Cowboys, 47-9 on the road. The Lions going up to 4-1, dropping the Cowboys to 3-3. The Cowboys are now 0-3 in their own stadium. Not a great record to be thinking about right now. But the Cowboys have more problems. I think their defense, definitely, as we talked about, has been devastated with the injuries to Micah Parsons and other key defensive players. But from an offensive standpoint, they continue to make mistakes in terms of Dak did throw a couple of picks, and Goff played almost flawlessly. Dak had probably one of the worst performances. In fact, not just Dak, the Cowboy quarterback didn't even throw it for a touchdown the entire game, and they were aided by 3 field goals, and that doesn't bode well for a team that is looking to get back to the glory days of the old Cowboy days. And the other team that actually hopefully set their season right could be the Bengals, who had a big, impressive victory over the Giants. The Giants had so many opportunities to actually tie the game, but they just could not compete with the Bengals. If you make a lot of mistakes, you're not going to make many plays, and you're not going to score many points. And that's the story of the day. The Falcons have continued to impress me as well. They've gone to 4-2. So have the Bucks, who have had an impressive road victory over the Saints. It looked like a track meet, going back and forth. Almost 50 plus points scored in the first half alone between both the teams. The Chargers were able to get a big win. The Eagles won, but there's a lot of questions. Nick Sirianni, who was actually had some choice words with the Eagles fans, and there's a lot of things in terms of saying that if the Eagles season doesn't go well, he could be replaced as well. But again, the season is still a long way to go. And the Bills got an impressive victory over the Jets on the road. Aaron Rodgers threw another pick to end the game, game-ending interception that really hurt the Jets' chances the last two games, one against the Vikings in London, one right now against the Bills. The Bills have now established themselves with 4-2 the division, and then the Bills made a monster trade to get Amari Cooper that really bolsters the wide receiving core for Josh Allen. The Jets also got Devontae Adams, but this is almost like a desperation move for the Jets to contend in the AFC East. But right now, if you ask me, and the Steelers have continued to win, but the one thing that I've heard and is that the Steelers are 4-2, but they're going to bench Justin Fields for Russell Wilson. So that remains to be seen how long that experiment will last. But at this time, when you ask me about the teams which are now clearly separating themselves. I could see the Bills and the AFC separating themselves. The Chiefs we talked about. The Ravens have started to get on a roll. They won 4 in a row, and they're playing solid defense. The Steelers are probably one of the best in terms of like points allowed, 86 points in the NFL. So when you look at the teams and then in the AFC South, the Texans, which are 5-1, and they are right now, they beat the Patriots. But from a Patriots standpoint view, which is my team, I feel that with Drake May coming in, still a lot of things. I mean, very good first game performance from him. But the story is still going to be the offensive line and the defense. It's the entire team, as Bill would always say. Bill Belichick, I meant. So with that, and then in the NFC, the Commanders took a little bit of a bump against the Ravens, so they're still at 4-2, still leading the division. The 49ers, with a lot of the injuries, they're still leading that division, back to leading that division. Vikings, of course, we talked about it, and the Falcons and Buccaneers continue to be 4-2. The biggest story of this season so far, after 6 games, is that the NFC North has established itself to be one of the best divisions, with every team more than a 66% winning percentage. So Bears and Packers are 4-2, Lions are 4-1, and Vikings are 5-0. So definitely bodes well for that division, and is going to be a battle down to the wire. With that, I know I did talk about weeks. We have a Broncos versus Saints, which is a return of Sean Payton to the Big Easy. It's going to be interesting in terms of what this will entail. I mean, he's still beloved in New Orleans. He took a break, went to Denver, so I think I expect a very warm welcome for Sean Payton, who brought a Super Bowl to that city. So, and then the early Sunday game, Patriots and Jaguars fighting out in London, battle of 2, 1, and 5 teams. But there's a lot of story from the standpoint of Patriot fans who are now hopeful with hopefully landing on the franchise quarterback. With that, we wrap up the recap of week number 6. Thank you again for listening, and thanks for supporting. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you for listening. Primo will be back soon.